Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap video. So today we have a Stature deck, and Stature recently went from a Series 5 down to a Series 4, and so she's a little bit more accessible. She's able to be purchased for 3,000 instead of 6, and you're much more likely to pull her naturally if you're advancing your collection pretty quickly. And I've enjoyed Stature ever since she was released, but I didn't play around with it all that much just because it was relatively unattainable for most players. And so now that she has dropped down, I feel comfortable experimenting with it again, and this version of a Stature list has been one of the best performing ones that I have found. And I don't know if this is the exact list, but Mogwai came up with most of this deck. The decision to tech in Iron Man was something that was just so solid and has so many applications. It allows you to strategically really go tall in a lane that you have some power in, but you're not quite over that edge. You can compete against Galactus by dropping the Iron Man and then following up to make sure you don't have initiative, and then following up on the last turn with like a Shang-Chi and then something else. It allows so much flexibility to be able to drop that alongside your Stature on the last turn of the game. And then the early game is really just good value cards. You want to be fighting for initiative for most of the game. It really stinks whenever your Moon Knight or your Black Bolt gets countered by a Cosmo, and so if we have initiative, we don't have to worry about our cards being redirected. We don't have to worry about any of those pieces. We can make sure that they go off how we want them to go off. Plus, if we have more power on the board, as long as we can maintain that through the entirety of the game, then it makes it easier for us to identify lanes that we think we can win in later on in the game. And so early on is the just good value. The Calling Wing into the Swarm is phenomenal. If you hit that, it's beautiful. The Lizard, the Mr. Fantastic, all are there to really grab initiative early. Polaris is just good value for the cost, plus it is that disruption to sometimes block a Galactus, sometimes to cap out an opponent's lane. It's just a really good value card overall. We have Moon Knight. Sometimes that's going to be on our back burner. We don't always want to play that, especially if we have Stature. If we have Black Bolt in hand, then we would almost rather play Black Bolt in most games, but Moon Knight is there as that secondary enabler for our Stature play. And then with the increase in popularity of control decks, we have Klaw. Klaw has been the single best performing card that I have had in any deck in a very long time, because it's able to sneak away those lanes that the opponent thought that they had won, and all of a sudden you're winning 4 and 8 cube games because you swing a lane that they thought they had for sure locked down. And it's a fantastic combination with Stature on the last turn. You can put 11 power in one lane and still push 6 into a lane that either is unplayable, hard to reach. And if all of the lanes are free to play into, you have your Iron Man to help you go even taller than the Klaw. We have our Shang-Chi to counter those big plays. It's just one of those good tech cards. And I've tested out several Stature lists. There's a lot that will lean in on like a Moon Girl, trying to double down, uses a She-Hulk as an alternative play line for that last turn or for your turn 5 into turn 6. And those just seem to, when they hit their high roll, they're really great. But that mid-range, or those times where they don't get their ideal draw, a lot of times they're not able to be competitive and find a way to win. Whereas this one has an answer to just about every meta deck that we're seeing right now. And so with the deck explanation out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, first up we have Sinilin. The first location is Death's Domain. With a lot of decks, it's difficult to navigate. This one we have Mr. Fantastic that we're going to lean all the way in on to be able to reach there at the very least. And so if the opponent doesn't have a way to play for that location, then we just get the advantage. We could do Iceman. We could do Calling Wing. I think we're just going to do Calling Wing. That's going to discard our Iceman, but we're okay with it. For turn 3, we're going to prioritize Mr. Fantastic. Actually, no, we can't. Oof, that's difficult. We're going to gamble here. We're going to gamble. We probably should have held everything. Mr. Fantastic, we can't play into Miniaturized Lab on turn 3, so we're going to have to hold it until the last turn. So we're going to gamble. Maybe Moon Knight makes us discard our Swarm. Beautiful value. Every once in a while it hits. The 1 out of 3. The dream, the meme dream is alive. We are going to... So they lost their Shang-Chi. We lost our Swarm, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and skip here. Turn 5. Maybe we do Black Bolt. I don't know. Let's see. They snapped on us. The Sunspot is interesting. We could Shang-Chi. That takes out their monster. They're going to cap out that right lane this turn. Takes out their monsters. So that's a pretty big swing. On the other hand, the Black Bolt makes them get rid of their lowest cost card, so maybe they lose a Titania. We're going to go for the guaranteed value of the Shang-Chi. Now, they could have an armor, which would kind of stink. Okay, so they skip. They skip and soak with their Sunspot, so that's going to mean they probably have a She-Hulk, like a She-Hulk and something else. I would imagine we have the Mooster Fantastic, which is marvelous. That was lowbrow even for me. We're gonna just flood this middle lane. We have the Swarms, the Mr. Fantastic to win us the Death's Domain, and sneak a tiny bit extra over here. That might be what we need to be able to win. They could maybe Titania plus She-Hulk plus some other stuff here. I don't know. We only have to win one of the two because we should have Death's Domain for just the cheap Mr. Fantastic value. And I think we have a decent shot. So we're going to stick in for the extra 2 cubes. They have a Mr. Fantastic as well. That's not fantastic for us. Oh, no. So we cap out the middle location. So we win that mid by 11. They win the right lane by 3. We tie in Death's Domain. They were gambling on the same thing that I was gambling on. And that was that we were just going to have Death's Domain locked down because they did go pretty heavily into the right lane. We will absolutely take it. That is 4 cubes that we will very gladly take. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Free Time, and as I was brewing and testing some other builds, I played against Free Time, and I honestly thought they were I honestly thought they were a bot, but I don't think they are. I think this is just a player, and they probably had a bad hand the last time around. We could do Calling Wing. That either discards our Moon Knight or our Polaris. Do we want to though? Since we have Black Bolt, that's probably going to be our ideal turn 5. Like, we probably don't use Moon Knight this game. So if it gets discarded, that's fine. They do a Mr. Sinister. So this could be a Patriot deck. I don't know. We do lose the Moon Knight, which is the ideal. I would rather lose that than the Polaris, because I'd rather play our Polaris here, honestly. We can use Polaris, try to cap them out in the hub location with their negative ninja that we're going to pull over there. We could do the Omega Red this turn, but I'm going to opt to not. We have the Black Bolt. This looks like not a Patriot list. Looks like maybe the Surfing USA, the Patriot / Silver Surfer deck, which I don't know, was never a huge fan of. If we drop the Black Bolt, we probably get rid of maybe their Wasp. I don't think we force them to discard anything else of note or of value, but I'm going to go ahead and try. The Professor X lock in the right lane is kind of devastating. The Mr. Sinister is throwing me off. I have no idea like what they're running, but with all oh no, I feel bad about this one. With all we're gonna do it anyways. We're gonna do it. We don't feel bad. We never feel bad. With all of the Professor X running around, Klaw has been a lifesaver. We can do Iron Man into Klaw and Stature. It gives us a pretty good amount here. We already have a pretty good amount here, and then as long as they don't have like a Spectrum to buff this up, which I don't think they do. This doesn't look like Cerebro 3, so we don't have to worry about Cerebro. The only thing we worry about is Jeff, but if we make it look like we don't have a way to reach that location, then they have no reason to play or move Jeff over there. Okay, no, the Cosmo's fine. So if this is the Silver Surfer version, I think this is perfectly fine. We're okay with this. So let's do the Claw, let's do the Stature. We have 17 over here, which I think is enough, but we are also going to reach over into the Superflow. So let's go ahead and lock this one in. I know I said we don't feel bad about it. I feel a little bad about it. We feel a little bad about it, but that's not bad enough to not do it. The Spectrum, no way. No way. Oh, wait. Hold on. This has to be a bot. Did they forget? That is not a bot. They forgot. The Mr. Sinister came from the hub. I don't know why they have Angela. Oh, this could be like the very old version, like the Pool 2 version of the Spectrum. Had they played this over here, it wouldn't have won it for them. Regardless, they didn't have it. Destroyer here wouldn't have done it. We had it covered with the Claw. The Claw reached for it. I feel bad because the Spectrum could have grabbed at least this lane, but they would have had to play it over here. and it just wouldn't quite have given them the oomph that they needed. We will go ahead and take the 2 cubes. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Solverstein. And as I was brewing, I actually played against them a little bit earlier, and they're running a Thanos list. I don't remember what kind. I think it's a Destruction Thanos, the Zoo Thanos. Those are the 2 like common ones that are floating around right now. I think regardless, we're okay. I'm going to start with our Lizard. We don't have Black Bolt just yet, so I don't know if we can prioritize losing Moon Knight yet. Ooh, Kamar Taj. Ooh, we do get Black Bolt, so we're not too upset if we lose our Moon Knight to like playing Calling Wing. Dream Dimension is also unfortunate. Makes us not be able to play this. So let's go ahead and do. Let's go ahead and do now. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna go ahead and do Moon Knight. We don't have any great targets for us to hit in our hands, so like our Swarm. We lose our Shang-Chi. They lose Doctor Doom. Beautiful. We lose Black Bolt. They lose Professor X. Beautiful. We hit some fantastic resources on their end. Wow. 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 Let's go ahead and throw, I guess, the Claw into the Dream Dimension. They don't have a Professor X lock anymore. They don't have Doctor Doom anymore. I don't know what else they have. Let's go with the Claw, and then we're just going to kind of play it by ear. Wild. That's wild. So they play Arrow, but we already played over there, so it's fine. Okay. Ooh, my goodness. The value on top of the value on top of the value. We now get Swarm, so we're going to just play our Calling Wing here. We're going to have 3 Swarms to play on the last turn. 3 Swarms to play, and if we draw Stature, perfect. If we draw Iron Man, perfect. Mooster Fantastic's fine. Iceman is honestly probably fine as well, because they don't have very many resources. We took out their big hitters, and they doesn't look like they drew into very many of their stones, I guess, until now. Their stones, I'm guessing, come down here, and they're going to reload the bulk. Oh, no. Okay, so they got a lot of their stones out of the way. So they drew 4 of their stones. Wow. And so the Angela, the Arrow, and then we do draw the Stature, which is massive. All right, so how do we want to finesse our last turn? I think we're going to do this. I think we're going to push for the left lane and the right lane, and then middle just hope that the Claw plus the Swarm is enough to hold it down. We do get the retreat. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Solverstein again. So he has immediate chance for revenge. And the first location is Quantum Realm, which is great for a Thanos list, especially one that wants to run Professor X. Okay, I'm so glad that that did not flip into Professor X. I would have been sad. I would have been very, very sad. Let's go ahead and rotate our Lizard. We do get the 50-50 flip of who had priority. We can rotate our Lizard. We might flip into Claw. Iron Man would be fine. Calling Wing would be a bit rough. Swarm would be tough. Shang-Chi we don't want either. But otherwise, I think we're okay. Shang-Chi. Okay, well. It is what it is. You win some and you lose some. We know that he's running Professor X. We know that he's running a Doctor Doom. So we have to be cautious of those things. The Wave as well. The Wave he's running as well. Do we rotate again? I feel like we need to rotate again. Let's do it. We're going to send it. We have the Black Bolt in hand, so we don't necessarily need to or want to play our Moon Knight this game. This is a much different game, I think. I guess we could have played players just out into like Icebox, but them having Angela in the Quantum Realm is beautiful because their card never sticks there. So Angela never actually gets buffed up, which is just a phenomenal like piece of information that's very rarely important, but when it is, it's kind of cool to know. We're going to rotate again. We have the Calling Wing that's going to discard our Moon Knight, which we're fine with. Next turn, we will do probably Black Bolt into just maybe the Icebox. And then the locations are going to switch. And so we'll see. We'll see what's going to be best. They do cap out this location. Interesting. Maybe they're playing a Professor... No, they couldn't play a Professor X. Soulstone. And then rotate into Professor X, maybe? They're digging deep here. Into Wave. All right. This lane is capped, though, which is wild. I'm guessing they just haven't got lucky with their draws again. We're okay with. Let's, we are still going to prioritize the Black Bolt. We don't want to rotate this one. We want to just play it. Now, they probably play Professor X into Quantum Realm. That's what I would do. They lock down Quantum Realm, then we just have to find a way to win these two. That's what I would do if I was them. Oh, two cards. Okay, we get rid of their death, which is great. The She-Hulk comes down, and the Professor X. Wow. Wild. We do get the Claw. Oh my gosh. It's gonna come down to the Claw. Like, do they know? I don't know if Solverstein saw our Claw last time or not. I can't remember. But we're gonna get 6 extra power here, which is wild. Brings us to 14. We're gonna rotate here. We don't have high hopes to win this lane. I think the Icebox and the Starlight Citadel are just our win lanes. I would snap. Do we snap? No. We're gonna let this one play out. I want to snap. I'm confident enough to snap, but we're just gonna let it play out. And so the Carnage comes down, kind of wild. The Soulstone. Okay, that's fine. And then as long as they don't have a way to buff up that middle location, then we're fine. Ooh, into Time Stone. Terrible rotations, my friend. We have a shot to win all 3 locations here. Mooster Fantastic comes down to add just a little bit of salt into the wound to make sure that we really win the Starlight Citadel. We hold down the left and the middle, and Claw is showing his value in spades. So Professor X has become very common with Jeff, with control-style decks really cropping up in popularity. And so Claw has been very, very critical in being able to lock down and reach locations that are otherwise unplayable or unwinnable. Let's go ahead and take the 2 cubes. Let's jump over into one more. All right, next up we have Star-Lord, and he's running the Collector avatar. We do have our Calling Wing and Swarm, and we got boosted with the Wakandan Embassy, which is amazing. I almost want to, let's go ahead and do it. We're going to turn 1 snap on them. We have the Calling Wing that's going to discard the Swarms for us. We have the then free 10 power that's going to go onto the board. We have Black Bolt to enable our Stature whenever we draw it, because we are going to draw it this game. This one is going to just curve out perfectly. Ooh. After turn 3, we're going to shuffle our cards into our deck. Well, we're going to get the Swarms onto the board. It just, we don't get to hold them. We actually, that was a 50-50. We could have accidentally hit the lizard there, but we did lean in, and we got a little fortunate. We got fortunate. Let's go with the Mooster Fantastic. We're going to split the Swarms to kind of really spread out our power across the board. And we could go, instead of Mooster Fantastic, we could go Polaris, but I like the idea of making sure we maintain initiative going into this rotation of our deck. I'm really not a fan of this location because you just can't plan for it. So the Electro is the first thing they play. Oof. It could be a Galactus. If this is a Galactus deck, man, we just if this is Galactus, we just got. We would have to rely on Polaris next turn, which we don't have in hand anymore. Ooh, that's wild. Okay, we'll see Sandman, Arrow. Okay, so Arrow tells me this is probably more Sandman than Galactus, which is okay. We have Claw to reach that location. When we get Black Bolt, we get the old 10 power Black Bolt, which is massive. Let's play Black Bolt here. Does it matter where? Nah. We're gonna play it into the left lane. Next turn we can do Shang-Chi. Even if they do Sandman, we can do Shang-Chi. If they do a leader here, we might be, yeah, they do use a leader. We lose our Shang-Chi. The leader was rough. The leader was all rough, a little rough. Okay, so they play Odin onto the leader. That brings them up to 10, and then they copy what we play. So do we just not? It's a wild call, but we could just simply not. Or if that's the case, do we just Claw? If they copy what we play, Odin into a Teal'c would let them win that one by 2. We're winning the right lane by, or we're tied in the right lane. We're winning the left by 7 already. Claw would allow us to, if they don't use Odin to re-trigger the leader, we'll be fine. And then if they do, we're fine because we'll win the tiebreaker. I think, okay, we do end up getting the retreat. I think they came to the same conclusion, was that a Dr. Doom, which is one of the primary in-game play lines, was not going to be able to do it for him. And Odin to copy the leader also was not going to be able to do it for him because we had too big of a lead gap with this one being tied. We got very fortunate with the swarms, being hit by Wakandan Embassy, but we were able to hold down versus the Sandman deck that it doesn't look like they hit their Sandman. But with that one, we are going to go ahead and end the video here. Overall, this has been the best performing Stature list. It has the flexibility to reach to the side with Klaw. It has the ability to go really tall with Iron Man, alongside using your Stature on the last turn. So you don't always have to have Stature, but that is of course your high roll. That is where you're going to have your best possible power output. If you don't, then you're looking to strategically drop your just good value cards otherwise. And then whenever you do get Stature, that's your high roll game. That is where you really lean in and get those big cube games. And so I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.